Please welcome Microsoft's Corporate Vice President for Enterprise Client and Mobility, Brad Anderson.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for being here. You know, I'm excited to be here and be able to talk about what I think is one of the greatest opportunities ahead of all of us. And it really is about how we enable users to be productive in a mobile world. So in this mobile-first, cloud-first world that we live in, we're always connected, we're always on. You know, the pace of innovation and the pace of competition is faster than it's ever been before, and we all know it's only going to accelerate from here. But yet the reality is most of the organizations in the world, the speed of work is outpacing the technology that underlies it. Well, at Microsoft, we have a plan to help. And our plan is all founded on how we enable organizations to enable their users to be more and to do more. It's founded on principles such as enabling the ability to create content in a very quick and easy manner, in a way that's discoverable and it's easy to use. You know, today, the world is just too complex, and the tools that our users have are just too complex. So what I hope to show you over the next 30 minutes is the work that we've been doing in Office 365, in the Enterprise Mobility Suite, and in Dynamics CRM, that is going to enable you to go to your customers and help them embrace these trends that are ultimately going to make their users more productive, more empowered, and advance the business. You know, as I look around the room here, all of you are the trusted advisors for millions and millions of customers around the world. And we believe together, this opportunity to help them embrace these mobility trends, embrace these trends to make their users more productive, is one of the most important things that we need to do together. Now, these trends are literally changing everything in how we work. They're certainly changing how we work. You look at the individuals who are entering into the workforce right now. These individuals have been born and raised with, these cell phones in their hands. They're accustomed to always being on. They're always networking. They're accustomed to personalized information being surfaced up to them in an easy-to-use way and in a way that's easy to act upon. But again, the organizations around the world just don't really work like that today. And in fact, for the average information worker, they spend 20% of their time looking for information, searching for information. That's 1 day in 5. So how do we help these organizations get better at that? And how do we help organizations to work like a network where information flows quickly and is easily accessible and easily usable? These trends change what we use to do our work. Our users are bringing in their personal devices. On these personal devices, they have the apps that they use in their personal digital lives, and they're accustomed to the freedom and to the capabilities that this brings to them. They want to use those same applications at work, and they want to have the same flexibility that they have in their personal digital lives in their work life. And finally, where we work is changing. Now, many of you may not think about the physical workspace as a tool, but it really is. Users are looking for a physical workspace that enables collaboration, that enables open idea sharing. And at Microsoft, we're certainly embracing this. As you can see in this picture, it's actually a picture of our office in Zurich. And it's built to really enable the open collaboration that today's users want. But with this flexibility of enabling users to work where, when, and how they want, comes increased risk. Consumer Reports estimates that just in the United States, during 2013, there were 3.1 million smartphones stolen and another 1.4 million lost. Now, we know that on many of these smartphones, there's an incredible amount of sensitive and confidential customer and corporate content on it. So there's this really fine balance that we have to walk. It's this balance between enabling users to be productive on the devices that they love, on all the devices that they love, while delivering the appropriate level of security and protection for the corporate content that resides on these devices. And I believe that doing this right requires it to be built into the architecture and in the design of the products that we're building. And we're certainly doing that at Microsoft. At Microsoft, we really have embraced the design principle of focusing on the end user first and foremost and delivering to them the absolute best experience to be productive. And that's what we certainly have done in Office 365, in the Enterprise Mobility Suite, and Dynamics CRM. But focusing on the end user first, but at the same time delivering IT the appropriate level of security and protection and compliance that they need. Now, we know that security is a top-level conversation in every company in the world right now, and it certainly is a conversation that's happening in the CEO office, in all the boardrooms around the world. Just take a look at the news, and you can see just how prevalent this is, and we've seen so many examples where what appears to be an IT miss has resulted in embarrassment, in brand damage, and in some cases, CEOs losing their job. So together, let's work and let's take the innovations that we're delivering in this hybrid world, from the cloud, but also connected down to our on-premises capabilities, to really enable users to be productive on the devices that they love while keeping the data secure. So what we're going to do now for the next couple of minutes is we want to take a look at it first from the perspective of the end user and what it means to be productive in a mobile world, and then come back and talk about what it means from the IT perspective and the tools that we're delivering for IT to use. Let's start with the end user, and please give a warm welcome to Julia to give us a view of that.
Thanks, Brad. All right. Now, Brad talked about how productivity is moving to this hyper-collaborative and open work style, working like a network, but also how essential it is to be productive and secure on all the devices you're working on. Now, I'm going to show you an example of how all this comes together using Microsoft Cloud Services across Office 365, CRM Online, and the services in the Enterprise Mobility Suite. Now, for the purposes of today's demo, I'm a salesperson, and I'm working to close an important deal, of course. Now, as a salesperson, I will start my day in my CRM Online experience, where I can manage all of my customer information in a really easy-to-use way. And it's a great touch experience here on Windows, and I'm showing this on Windows today, but we also have great CRM experiences on iOS and on Android. And with the touch of my hand, I can see all the deal status. I even have BI on my pipeline, so I know exactly what's going on. Now, the deal I'm most interested in working on today is this annual hardware refresh. So I'm going to go ahead and select in there. And CRM brings to me all the important information I need. I have my customer contact information integrated with Link and Skype, of course, and I have all of my steps to get through my deal. And CRM walks me through those steps so I can not worry about the process, I can focus on my customer. Now, in this case, I need to identify stakeholders, which I've done, so I'll mark that complete, and the competitors is complete, so I'll go to my next phase. And here in the propose phase, you see it's actually highlighting for me that I have this gold discount for this customer. They qualify for 15% off. So I can make sure I include that in the proposal. Again, CRM bringing me important information, not just sales process steps. Well, the next thing I have to do here, it says, is to develop a proposal for my customer. Well, it turns out a couple weeks ago, I was in a meeting, and a coworker shared this awesome customer presentation proposal that I want to use. But I'm not exactly sure where it is. Now, normally today, what I have to do is maybe email my coworker, ask for that proposal, maybe search around for it, but no more. I don't have to do that today. Today, I have Delve, a new experience in Office 365. And what's powering Delve is machine learning that works across Office 365, that knows the content I'm working on, knows the meetings I'm attending, and the people I'm collaborating with. And based on all that insight, is providing me this totally personalized, relevance-based view of all my information. And I can see everything right here, again, in a great touch experience. Now, in this case, I know I'm looking for something that was presented to me in a meeting, so I can use Delve to refine my view. Here's some default views we have already. So in this case, I'm going to choose Presented to Me. And again, in a single touch, I now have a new view of all the information that's been presented to me. Again, because that machine learning knows the meetings I'm in and the content that was shared as part of that meeting. Now, this content could sit anywhere across the organization, in OneDrive accounts or in my files there. It doesn't matter. It's presented to me right here. Now, and again, that I was looking for that proposal, and here it is, right there, that proposal I was looking for. Thanks to Delve, the information found me versus me having to find that information. So now I can grab that proposal and put it right in my OneDrive for Business account so I can collaborate and work on it with my teammates. So that's what I've done here. Now I'm in my OneDrive for Business experience, just part of Office 365, fully integrated with 1 terabyte of data per user. So I can put all of my files in here. Now I've customized this proposal for Litware, my customer I'm working with, and you see I've shared it out with a number of coworkers as well, so we can all edit it. So let me go ahead and open that, and we can start editing and getting it just right for the customer. I'll go ahead and edit here in Word Online. And as I go in, you can see there's going to be a few other people here editing this with me. And as I go down, you can actually see pixel by pixel what my coworkers are changing and the edits they're making real time. And we have collaboration and co-authoring in all of our Office apps as well. Now, I want to make some changes, just like my colleagues as well. And in this case, I want to put in a table. And now that it's easier to do than ever, if I go up to this Tell Me feature, new feature in Office, and I just tell it what I want to do, like insert a table in this case, it actually takes me to the commands. It doesn't take me to help and how to, it actually takes me to the command. So it doesn't matter where it is in the ribbon, I don't have to look for it, I can just drop it in and go. Now in this proposal, remember I have that special pricing with that discount in it. So I want to go ahead and send this to my customer so they can take a look at the proposal, but because it has that sensitive pricing information, I want to use some additional security. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add Azure Rights Management Services to have another layer of security in what I'm doing. So all I have to do is hit this Share Protected, and I get this Azure Rights Management Services prompt, and I can type in who I want to send it to. In this case, I want to send it to my customer at Litware. And in this UI here, I can choose kind of what kind of settings they have, what rights they have, customize it, get exactly what I want, and then go ahead and send. Now, when it creates that email for me to send, what happens is both the encryption and the access rights stay with the file. So I know only that customer can open that email and see that file. I don't have to worry about the sensitive pricing information being shared with other customers that I don't want to see it, giving me that important peace of mind. All right, now that I've got the proposal off to my customer and they got to take a look at it, I actually posted some questions out to my Yammer group that I wanted to get some best practices on getting ready to meet with this customer, which is my next step. So to do that, I'm going to go out to Yammer, our enterprise social experience, where we can have this open and discoverable conversations. And I'm going to go to my sales team group, where people who are interested in sales, the sales deals we're working on, can join in this group and have an open, discoverable conversation. And here I posted a question and gotten some answers. And the magical thing about this is that it's open. So I know that when I post a question out here looking for some best practices, anyone across the company who might have relevant information can find this conversation and add to it. And that's really essential. And we think it's so important to how people are going to work today and in the future that we're taking this group's experience, this open, discoverable conversation, and we're extending it all parts of Office 365. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead to my Outlook experience here. My email, as you'd expect, looks great, but I have more than email now. I can go ahead and expand down here, those groups. And there's that sales team group, that same open conversation I just showed you in Yammer, now here in my familiar Outlook experience. So I can have that open, discoverable discussion with whatever tool I want to use across Office 365. And you see I have information here. Now, the other aspect of having open conversations is I can discover other groups because they're open. So for an example, I work with Jem here all the time. And if he's in a group that is interesting to him, it's probably interesting to me as well. So I can just collect on Jem, and I can look at the groups he's in. And this marketing team seems like a group I might want to be part of that I'm not today. So I can go ahead and just click on the marketing team, and I can actually get a preview of the group and see what kind of conversations are happening. And in fact, this does look like an interesting group that I would want to be part of. And so all I have to do is select Join here, and I can automatically be joined to that discussion. Again, really powerful experience across that open, discoverable groups format. All right, so the proposal is to the customer. I've got my questions answered, ready for going on-site to present to the customer. So to do that, I'm actually going to switch over to my iPad to do my presentation at the customer's site. You might have heard a few months ago, we launched Office for iPad, fantastic Office experiences on this device. In this case, I'm in PowerPoint. And I can drop in, and you see it's that same familiar Office experience with the ribbons and the commands exactly where I'd expect them. That means when I can use these apps and be productive right away. And as an example, too, I have one last edit I want to make before I do the customer presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this picture here. And you see nice big touch handles. I can zoom down, up, drop that right in. Now I'm ready to go. All right, so let's go ahead and get into presentation mode. And everything when I load up looks great. All of my transitions are there. My animations look perfect. It's great, that Office experience you know and love. But we've done some additional things to make this even more impactful, unique to this device, because we know people will use their iPads for presentations. For an example, I can just touch and hold, and I get that laser pointer so I can highlight what I'm talking about and draw attention in my presentation. Similarly, I can go grab ink as well, so I could annotate if I want to make sure people are watching and make a real more important point in my presentation. Just a couple neat little tools we put in to make it even more impactful when using this device with Office. And again, the view you can see is this unmistakably Office, yet very natural and familiar on an iPad. All right, so the presentation of the customer went great. They're ready to sign. So now I want to send my sales team the information about the pricing so they can get to work on the contracting process. So to do that, I'm actually going to switch to a different iPad, and I'm going to show you some technology coming in the future. And this is integration between Office 365 and the services in the Enterprise Mobility Suite that provide mobile device management of the Office for iPad apps. Essentially, this allows corporations to keep their data within IT-managed areas while giving the users the Office experience that they love. Now, on this iPad specifically, IT has applied policies and controls on which apps I can use for business and where that data can reside. So let me show you what that looks like. So I want to get that pricing information. So I'm going to go into my Outlook experience here on the iPad, where I have the attachment with the pricing in it. So I'll go ahead and open that Excel file. Now, it opens it first in the default viewer on the iPad. And so you can see my Excel looks kind of funky, but that's OK. I can go ahead and open it. Now, when I select the apps to open it, only apps that are approved by IT show here. So I'm protected. I'm making sure that I'm only using the apps that I should be for work purposes. Luckily, I can use Excel and get a view of what that should really look like, which is great. So here I have that table of information I want to send off to the team. Again, nice big touch handles. I can go ahead and copy that information. Now I'm going to send it off, and I'm going to try to send this in the native email app that comes on the iPad, what I should be using for personal, but not for work reasons. But I'm going to go ahead and try anyway. So I'll go ahead and tap in here and try and paste it. But you see, there's no option to paste. That's actually been disabled because of that IT management. I'm not allowed to put business information in this app. So instead, I'll go back to my Outlook experience, which of course I can use for work, and go ahead and send an email there and tap in. And when I touch and hold, you can see that there is my paste options, and it drops right in because it is approved experience. So this shows you how we'll enable data protection and IT control while still providing that fantastic user experience with Office. All right. Now, I showed you just one example of a mobile salesperson being productive across the Microsoft Cloud services. This is what productivity looks like in a cloud-first, mobile-first world. Thanks.
Thanks, Julia. You know, that experience that we're delivering on all these mobile devices, whether it be on Windows, whether it be on Android, whether it be on iOS, you know, all centered on that beautiful, unmistakably Office experience, and then extending that and being able to manage that through the different components of the Enterprise Mobility Suite really offers, bar none, the absolute best solution on the market. So you got a chance to see a view from the end user perspective, and I want to show you what it looks like from an IT perspective. But I want to start by just talking about the different layers of protection. And what we have really found important here, and a good way to think about this is, as you think about these mobile devices and the corporate content that's being accessed and used on the devices, you need to implement a layered protection approach. So first and foremost, you want to start with the device itself. And you want to be able to put in policies like a power-on password, the device encrypted. You want to be able to verify that the device has not been jailbroken. But you also want to make it super easy for users to bring their personal devices into work and automate the setup of things like the wireless network, the VPN, as well as things like certificate management, you know, classical mobile device management. That's the first thing you want to do. And of course, we deliver that, a complete solution in the Enterprise Mobility Suite. You want to also protect at the application level. And like what Julia showed there, you want to be able to separate the personal applications from the corporate applications as well as the content. So delivering a container and delivering wrappers that allows you to invite other applications to participate in that same container that Office is a core and foundational piece to the capabilities that are coming in the Enterprise Mobility Suite here in a couple of months. Now, here is where the vendors in the market today that claim to be enterprise mobility management vendors stop. But there's much more you have to do. You also want to be able to protect at the file level. And I thought Julia did a wonderful job of showing you that proposal that was being sent to a customer, and she had the ability to embed the access rights in the file. So the file is self-protecting. The file is able to travel with those access rights embedded in it. I'll just give you a personal anecdote on this. Here I think, I'm maybe a unique individual, but lo and behold, there are other Brad Andersons in the world and other Brad Andersons in the industry. I can't tell you the number of times when I have had files and emails sent to me accidentally that were destined for another Brad Anderson in the industry. Accidental data leakage is one of the biggest things that we struggle with in the industry, and if you can actually embed the access rights into the file itself, it doesn't matter if an accident happens because the file can't be opened unless you personally have been authorized to do it. And then you need to wrap all of this with tight and complete identity management. You think about Active Directory has been the foundational piece that every organization in the world has based its access to content and to applications for years and years and years. We want to extend that to the cloud with the trends that are happening. So now with that as an overview, let's actually show you how some of this looks. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to dive into a number of the components in the Enterprise Mobility Suite and show you the IT view of this. So what you're looking at here is Microsoft Intune, and this is our mobile device, mobile application management solution. And the first thing that you're seeing here is I have all these policies that I can set. I can set power on password policies. I can set policies specific to things like the Knox capabilities that are included in the Samsung world. I can set up the Wi-Fi and the network, manage their certificates. I have a complete solution to do everything that I need to do from a mobile device management perspective. And so as you are looking for a really strong mobile device management solution that extends out to everything else you need to do, the Enterprise Mobility Suite is the thing that you need to base on. But let's move up a level. Let's talk about applications. So here I have this app restriction policy for iOS 7. What this allows me to do is set the policies that Julia was just showing you just a minute ago, where it allows me to do things like manage, can this application and data from this application be backed up through iCloud? Can I share it? Can I do copy and paste? And that example where Julia showed where she was trying to cut and copy content from a corporate app or managed application into a personal application was blocked, that's all managed through the Microsoft Intune solution. And that manageability in terms of the Office applications across Windows and iOS and Android is only possible through the Enterprise Management or the Enterprise Mobility Suite from Microsoft. Now, what's the first application everybody in the industry wants to protect first? What's the first app? That's right, it's email. And so what I want to show you here is some of the work that we've done from an email perspective about what we call conditional access. What this allows us to do is set a policy on the device. And if that policy is not met, then we actually stop the flow of email. So we can set a policy that requires the device to have a power-on password. It requires to be encrypted in case it's lost, and it also requires that the device not be jailbroken. Now, if we find at any time any one of these policies is challenged or is not compliant, we actually stop the flow of email, both to the inbox email application or to Outlook. And when the user comes into email, there's one email in the inbox. And it says, hey, your device is out of compliance. Click here, and we'll walk you through bringing it back into compliance. So we walk the user through the process of bringing it back into compliance, but you can be assured that all the corporate secrets, the details, the confidential information that flows through email every day is safe and secure and protected. So mobile device management, check in the Enterprise Mobility Suite. Mobile application management, check also in the Enterprise Mobility Suite. But there's one thing that every organization I talk to tells me about that they need help with. Every organization that I talk with tells me that they have an inventory of Windows applications that they also need to deliver down to their devices and to their users around the world. But depending upon the number of applications and the number of devices that you have, this can be a pretty daunting task to stand up the infrastructure to do remote desktop or remote app. Well, we released in May into preview what we call Azure Remote App. Azure Remote App is remote desktop services that we've rewritten that runs now as a SaaS service in Azure. And you can see here, I can take and I can publish any Windows application up into Azure. It can be replicated to any of the Azure data centers that Scott talked about, and then I can give access to those applications to my end user on any device, anywhere in the world. Interesting data fact here, the non-Windows clients, and so the clients that we released in October for Mac, iOS, and Android have been downloaded now more than 5 million times from the various stores with just wonderful feedback. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go click on Visio. And when I click on Visio, what you're going to see happening here is it is actually spinning up a session for me in the Azure data center. It's going to give me a great single sign-on experience, and up comes Visio, and I can now be using Visio on my iPad, on my Android device, or on any Windows device anywhere in the world. Okay, so a really critical part of mobile application management that the others in the industry just don't do. So now let's transition and talk about identity. Identity is more important than you can even imagine. So what I want to talk about here now is I want to come over and I want to show you some of the things that we're doing from an identity management perspective to help you be able to identify how users are accessing information from a corporate perspective and make sure that it's appropriate. Here's the first thing. Active Directory has been the premier solution that enterprises around the world use to manage access in their enterprises. But now, as organizations are embracing SaaS apps, how are they managing the identity in all the SaaS apps that are being used? And even a question before that, how many organizations have any idea how many SaaS apps are being used? So what we have in preview right now is what we call the Cloud App Discovery. Cloud App Discovery allows us to go out and scan an environment and identify every SaaS app that's being used by the employees and which employees are using that and then surface that up. So in this environment, I can see that there have been 88 applications in this company that are being used by 1,600 users. If I click on this, it gives me an experience here where it actually surfaces up to me all the different applications. It's going to categorize them for me. You know, I could go click on any one of these categorized, and it would show me information. Let's go take a look specifically at DocuSign. So here I can see that in the last 90 days, DocuSign has been accessed or been used by almost 1,600 different users with 383,000 uses of the service. Now, how is that managed today? It's great that I understand what SaaS apps are being used, but how do I manage them? And an interesting anecdote here, with the customers that we've worked with on this, before we show them the results in the preview, we ask them how many SaaS apps they think their employees are using. And what they tell us is hey, somewhere between 30 and 40. What we find on average is the average organization is using more than 300 SaaS apps, and it's completely unmanaged today. So let's now go bring these under management. So I can go into that same experience that Scott was showing you from an Azure perspective. The first thing I'll point out here is we have done the work to integrate more than 2,000 SaaS apps into this solution to help you bring them under management. So what does it mean to bring these under management? So literally, if I go to DocuSign and I go to bring this device under management, what it's going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to configure a couple of different things. Let's see here. So let's bring this under management. And what it's going to allow me to do is one of two different things. First of all, I can go deliver a wonderful single sign-on experience so that as my users on their device go to access the SaaS app, they're not challenged for their username and password all the time. It's a single sign-on. But more importantly, I can do the automatic provisioning of the user accounts into the service. And more importantly, when the user leaves my company, I can make sure that they are also the user account is taken away from DocuSign and the other SaaS apps that are being used. So being able to do a great identity management solution is really important. But I talked about all the attacks that are constantly being lobbied against all of us. What I want to show you here is a set of capabilities that we also have in the Enterprise Mobility Suite that's based upon machine learning inside of Azure that helps us see and identify suspicious or abnormal access attempts. And this is a set of reports. I want to show you one specifically here. This is a report that shows us individuals who have logged in from different places around the world in time frames that just don't make sense. So I take a look at Adam here. Adam logged in from the United States, and then an hour and 46 minutes later logged in from the Czech Republic. We know that's not possible. But today, this kind of thing happens as our user accounts get their passwords phished, and we have no idea that it's happening. Well, now I can surface this up through the Enterprise Mobility Suite. I can go and force the user to reset a password. I can have them challenged with a multi-factor authentication so they can verify who they are. But I can now see these attacks. I can block the attacks. I can stop the attacks. So mobile device management, done in the Enterprise Mobility Suite. Mobile application management, done in the Enterprise Mobility Suite. File protection. It's as simple as what Julia showed you there. Inside of the tools like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, I can embed access rights into the application, into the files themselves. Done in the Enterprise Mobility Suite. And finally, strong identity management, done again in the Enterprise Mobility Suite. This is far and away the absolute best solution for you to take to your customers to enable users to be productive in a mobile-first, cloud-first world, safe and secure so that the corporate content is protected. Now, let me just close up here. Today, we hold more power in our hands than we used to have on our desktops just a few years ago. And the power that we hold in our hands is what enables us to compete in this new world. It enables us to innovate, to give better customer service to our customers. Together, we have the opportunity to go and help organizations around the world embrace these trends around mobility, truly making our users productive across all of their devices. It is one of the greatest opportunities that exists in the industry today. And in the next section, we're going to talk about how big the opportunity is and how we can get after it together. Thank you.